Welcome to Lord Fussington's walkthrough of the critically acclaimed game Demon's Souls. I'm your walkthrough master, Lord Fussington, and this is the much anticipated series of videos on pure white world tendency and their events. What you see right now on the screen in front of you are the worlds and their tendencies. There's a hint in the top left corner. And each world is pure white. So that is what pure white world tendency looks like in each world. It's as bright as possible. So I suppose the next question would be something like, well, Lord Fussington, however did you accumulate pure white world tendency? What brilliant method did you use to accomplish such an elusive and difficult task? Well, dearest viewer, I did something very unimpressive, and that is to kill the demons in each world, and never die in body form in any of the worlds. That is the easiest way to accumulate pure white world tendency. Okay? So there are several ways to accumulate pure... I kind of look at world tendency like a point system. Okay, so when you begin the game, each world is a neutral tendency, and you have a total of 0 points, okay, in each world. To get from neutral to pure white world tendency, you have to gain 3 points. To get to pure black world tendency from neutral, you have to lose 4 points. And I know you can't lose what you haven't gained, but for the purposes of this explanation, let's say you can. So, with that being said, if you have pure black world tendency and you want to get to pure white world tendency, you have to gain 7 points. If you want to get from pure white world tendency to pure black world tendency, you have to lose 7 points. Okay? So how do you gain points? How do you lose points? To gain points and, thereby accumulating white world tendency, you can, killing bosses is the easiest way. Okay? Each boss gives you gain 1 point. The dragons, the red dragon and the blue dragon, each one gives you a single point. Killing Black Phantom named NPC, so like Executioner Miralda in Black Phantom form, who appears in Boletarian Palace, if you kill her, you gain 3 points. However, the named NPCs in Black Phantom form only appear with pure black world tendency, so you have to have lost 4 points from neutral, so you're at -4 now for them to appear. Okay, which means if you do kill them, you just end up at -1, so a shade less than neutral. Okay, so it's not, that's not exactly the best way to gain pure white world tendency. And then there's the primeval demon, who shows up a shade less than pure black world tendency, so -3, as well as pure black world tendency, -4. Okay, so even if you kill both of them, so say you kill the Black Phantom named NPC who appears in pure black world tendency, so you're -4, now you're at -1, and then you kill the primeval demon, who will be there as long as you don't leave the area. If you're still in the area, the tendency won't switch yet. By the way, this is one of the pure white world tendency events. The dragons disappear, so I'm collecting that item there. Okay. So if you kill the primeval demon and the Black Phantom named NPC, you gain 6 points in total. Remember, you have to stay in the world. If you leave it, it'll shift the world tendency. And that'll get you to +2. Right? So a shade less than pure white world tendency. The point is, there are far less opportunities to accumulate white world tendency than black. The bosses, you don't get to fight them a second time in a single playthrough. You have one chance, basically. So what a lot of players do wrong is they start off in neutral, they kill the phalanx, they gain 1 point. but they remain in body form in the world, and then they die, and that will bring them back to neutral, 0 points. And that is that's one of the ways anyway to accumulate Black World Tendency. Or to lose points. You basically die in body form in any given world. So it's very easy to do that, because all you need are a Stone of Ephemeral Eyes, and you just revive yourself, jump off a cliff in a world, you lose a point. And you rinse and repeat, and eventually you'll get to pure Black World Tendency. With White World Tendency, you've got to kill the bosses, generally. There's also the online stuff. Kill an invading phantom or a black phantom or whatever, or reviving a summoned phantom, a blue phantom. But really, it'll be the bosses, and so you usually want to accumulate White World Tendency first. Remember, if you're going to accumulate pure Black World Tendency first and do the Primeval Demon and kill the BP Phantom or whatever, it's going to be tough, because you'll probably be at a low level, just because you haven't killed any of the bosses, you haven't really collected souls, and chances are the Black Phantom will destroy you. They are a little bit on the higher end of the difficulty spectrum. So I don't recommend it. I generally do pure White World Tendency events first, then go to pure Black World Tendency events. It's just easier. And it works out, in terms of farming. Do the pure White World Tendency events, then bring yourself to pure Black World Tendency, and then farm. Don't do the events yet. Farm until you're done farming, then do the pure Black World Tendency events. Don't go kill the Primeval Demon or something like that. And then you'll have to do the Stone of Ephemeral Eyes. But even if you do, you still have that opportunity to accumulate Black World Tendency. If you fuck up with the bosses, you don't really have opportunity to accumulate White World Tendency again. By the way, there's another event. The gate basically opens, and here we'll find Executioner Miralda in body form. So, and it doesn't affect, killing her doesn't affect your world tendency. However, if you kill, say, Scurver, the Wanderer, that will affect your world tendency. It'll bring it to black. You'll lose 3 points. And it'll also affect your character tendency. But in this case, it doesn't affect anything at all, as far as I know. What else is there to say? I mean, that's one of the reasons I'd always go to the Nexus. I don't know if I said this already, but that's why I go to the Nexus and die in body form. I commit suicide in body form, just so that I don't risk the chance of not maintaining my world tendency, or risking not being able to accumulate pure white world tendency, or attain pure white world tendency at the end. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about Executioner Miralda, who wields the guillotine axe. She hits hard. Her Black Phantom form is far more difficult, but that's probably because you're in pure Black World Tendency as well. I'll explain a little bit about pure White World Tendency, the pros and the cons of it as well, in a second. So with her, I suggest, blocking. If you have magic, you'll kill her really fast, just homing soul, arrow, and then roll backwards. You don't want to get hit by that axe, it hurts. As do most weapons that smack you in the face. They would. So, not very difficult in this case. Of course, I am, as usual, over-leveled. Actually, maybe not even so much at this point. So you get all that. The guillotine axe drops from her when she's in Black Phantom form. Okay, so this is another... Well, you'll see that. Let me just explain the pros and cons of having pure White World Tendency. I won't explain pure Black World Tendency here, of course. I've mentioned it just in passing a little bit, because I'll talk more about it in the pure Black World Tendency events videos. So the pros of pure White World Tendency are the enemies drop... And this is from the wiki.page, because I could not remember this, this stuff. Not that I find it particularly important for the most part, because if you're able to roll out of enemies' ways, it doesn't matter how much weaker they are, or how much stronger. But they drop more healing items. Okay, they have less HP. They're less powerful, both in terms of attack as well as their defense. Okay. By the way, you don't have to walk all the way down here. You don't have to go from this ladder, because I'll show you exactly how to. In the video, it shows exactly how to do it. I don't know why I went in doing this route. It's a bit stupid, but anyway. You'll see in a second how you're supposed to do it, because you have to use the beams basically. And I mean, I can't even tell you how often when I first started out I just fell and died, but it's actually much simpler than it appears. What are the other? Also, you're more powerful in terms of attack, especially in soul form. Okay, so this is when you have white world tendency. The cons. There are more infrequent drops, basically, and the drops are also less valuable. Okay, so that's why you tend to farm in black world tendency, because the drops are higher and the drops are more valuable. Okay, and that's really the main thing. And mind you, the enemies are more difficult, but the main thing is better drops and black world tendency. Okay, better drops and more frequent. So that's why people farm for a pure bladestone and pure black world tendency. Or else, the chance of you getting it off the black skeleton is quite slim in pure white. Maybe non-existent. So you see what I did there. There's a particular beam that's broken, and you jump from there down here, and you'll land every time. It's actually, I find the hardest part, or the more risky part, in trying to get from here to the bottom. Now, if you have evacuation, you can just use that, of course. If not, you just have to sort of align yourself properly with the beam below, and then just walk off, and yeah, it'll be fine. So you see how that beam is sort of on the left, so you've just got to walk where that guy is that's hanging off that beam, who's for some reason not slid off. He's just always, he's actually attached to it. Yeah. And there you go. It's barely, but I've done it loads of times and it's always worked. So if you feel more comfortable, go slightly to the left, of course. But let's just aim at it, right? Anyway, what else? There's not much else to explain when it comes to this. It's pretty simple. The world tendency events, or just to accumulate and accumulate a white world tendency and accumulate black world tendency. It isn't difficult at all. And there's a lot of information. Reason I looked at the wiki.page page, there's a lot of information on that stuff. It's pretty comprehensive, and that's what I used when I first started out as well. Well, not when I first started out, because it wasn't even up yet, but at one point they did post stuff on it. So that's what you want to use, and if you have any questions, I can answer them in the comments. I will answer the questions in the comments, so you can always just ask. Or else you can just check the wiki.page page. That'll definitely answer questions, or should anyways. Of course, you won't have my eloquence. You'll end up having the eloquence of someone else, but yeah. As long as your question gets answered, of course. So now we're going to head over to Stonefang Tunnel and get the Dragon Bone Smasher, which I already collected, because if you want to, right, from neutral to pure white world tendency, it's essentially 3 bosses, right? Kill 3 bosses, never die in body form. So if you kill the armor spider, there's 1 point. And this is starting out, right? Neutral. Kill the armor spider, 1 point. Kill the... comes after that. Armor spider, flame lurker, 2. And kill the dragon. Why do I feel like I'm forgetting someone? But I'm not. Kill the dragon god. That's 3 points right there. Each one gives you a point. So and then you'll be able to get that sword. Well, because you'll have accumulated pure white world tendency. And the sword is important. It's one of the events, but it also helps you to fulfill another one of the events as well, because you have to show the Dragon Bone Smasher to Skurver the Wanderer. And I think that's how you pronounce his name. I don't really care. So this is where the Dragon Bone Smasher is, usually. So I'm even going to equip it. There it is. That's what it looks like. It smashes things. It's made from dragon bone. So this is all fact. All fact. Okay. So now I've got to go see... What an excellent roll there. Now we've got to go see Skurver the Wanderer. Show him the Dragon Bone Smasher. Actually, it sounds like it smashes Dragon Bone more than it being made from Dragon Bone and also smashing. I mean, how annoying is that? I mean, that just gives it a whole different meaning. Well, I'm absolutely disgusted. So just, you know, kill this crystal gecko and use another arrow just for no reason at all. So this is the... Actually, I haven't gone here in the Lord Fussington videos because, well, to be honest, I hate the area. Like, Stonefang Tunnel is one of those places where I just try to get it over with. You know, there are a lot of things in life where you just want to get it. This is one of those places. Or one of those things, right? The pit is, it's a shortcut, basically, to the Flame Lurker. I didn't post a walkthrough on it either. So, this is a really comprehensive walkthrough. To be fair, the only place that... There's 2 places that aren't covered really in the walkthroughs. And that's this pit. And as far as I can remember, it's this pit and where all the crystal geckos are sort of huddled together in that one place. So those are the 2 areas, and they're both in Stonefang Tunnel that I didn't go to. The crystal gecko place I don't think is necessary. You go there, you use Firestorm, or people recommend God's Wrath. I guess I've never done enough damage for it to be useful. But I know it does hit everything. Firestorm doesn't. And here, it always takes me about 2 tries to get all the items. So I just can't be bothered. Because you've got to just roll, roll properly on... It's actually just one of the items that's really irritating. Not that one over there, there's one below. On a beam. So that's the... But for Skurver the Wanderer, it's quite easy to get to him. And it's easy to get to the bottom as well, you just got to jump in the middle. You might not be alive, but even just doing it properly, it's easy to get to the bottom. It's just that one item that can be a little bit annoying. So I don't know what I'm doing here. Probably thinking about where I want to jump. I haven't been here in a long time as well, so okay. And it was that simple. So there's 2 crystal geckos. You want to kill them both and not hit Scurver in the face. So I suggest bows and arrows. If you don't have just 1 bow, you don't need several bows. That would be absurd. Just you know, don't go in there and firestorm. Unless you're such a professional that you won't hit Scurver in the face. I don't even have firestorm, so what the fuck? You said can? I think it was a can. Alright, well that was strange. Or maybe it was scrolls. Maybe it was scrolls. Maybe it was scrolls, because scrolls is plural, so obviously was is the correct word to use previous. Anyway, it's, you know, I'm really good at English. Maybe they are scrolls, if anyone's watching and not quite sure whether or not I'm being sarcastic. Generally, I am sarcastic.
Do not mind, please. Take care of that sword.
So there you go, pure greystone, fantastic. And that's it. This was the other pure white world tennis. There's not that many events in the first 2, in Boletarian Palace and Stonefang Tunnel. Now the next video, which will be entitled Part 2 of Pure White World Tendency Events, I'll be going through Tower of Latria, as well as Shrine of Storms. So I think that'll be really exciting. And by exciting I mean not very much so. The answer is yes. Return to the Nexus. You may have to walk all the way back if you do not have Evacuate, because you'll have to grab Excalibur to return to Nexus. That's old King Doran, and I've been Lord Fussington. Thank you very much for watching. Kindly rate, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions, post them below, and I will certainly answer, unless they're really bad.